The Star Wars universe was no stranger to superweapons. As in many other fictional universes, they were a hallmark of Star Wars' antagonist factions, designed by the galaxy's most evil engineers. But in the Star Wars universe, the bad guys weren't the only ones interested in superweapons. At the start of the Clone Wars, the Republic was actually working on its own superweapon, only for the Separatists to steal it and turn it against the Core Worlds. In this video, we tell the story of this superweapon and the battles fought in its name during one of the earliest campaigns of the Clone Wars, the hunt for the Decimator.
Attention, Sergeant on deck!
After the Battle of Geonosis, the entire galaxy was suddenly plunged into war. Tensions had been building between the Galactic Republic and the Confederacy of Independent Systems for 2 years, and they suddenly, simultaneously, erupted into open conflict on 1,000 fronts. But despite its sudden, violent beginning, the Clone Wars started off somewhat slow. After Geonosis, both the Republic and the Confederacy had plenty of organizational work to do. Neither of them were really prepared for war, and it showed. A few major battles began in the days after Geonosis, but for the most part, small local conflicts dominated the first month of the Clone Wars. Neither side had a clear game plan, but that was about to change. On the Loyalist side, the Republic spent the first month of the war incorporating its brand new clone army. In this early stage, the Republic relied on Loyalist planetary security forces to keep the front line stable while it fortified its clone territories and established an order of battle. The Jedi Order was tasked with commanding the army, with the likes of Jedi Knight George Ruckus and Jedi Master E2 Shen-Jon becoming Jedi Generals. On the Separatist side, the CIS tried to make sense of its patchwork of territory. Its droid army was rather haphazardly organized and would remain that way until General Grievous became the army's supreme commander. Like the Republic, the CIS largely lacked clear direction. That is, until Sev'rance Tann came along. Sev'rance Tann was a Chiss, a species that was virtually unknown to the Republic at the time. She was also a Dark Acolyte, personally trained by Count Dooku in the use of a lightsaber and the dark side of the Force. In this early stage of the Clone Wars, General Tann was Dooku's right-hand woman. She was one of the most brilliant tacticians in the Confederacy and a dependable agent. After the Battle of Geonosis, in which Tann served with distinction, Dooku put her in charge of the CIS droid army. He tasked her with tracking down and capturing a superweapon his spies had reported the Republic was building, a nigh unstoppable model of tank, ominously named the Decimator. As both the Republic and the Confederacy developed strategies for the prosecution of the Clone Wars, Tann assembled a small army and travelled to the Siskiyne system. Above the gas giant Kaer, she recaptured an orbital manufacturing platform which had been built by the IGBC but seized by a Republic force under Jedi General George Ruckus. After driving out the clones, Tann laid claim to the Kaer orbital platform and used it to manufacture battle droids that she would reserve for her personal army. She planned to operate independently from the bulk of the droid army, enabling her to strike quickly at targets all over the galaxy, betting that the Republic was still too disorganized to respond appropriately. As for her army massed at Kaer, Tann began searching for information about the Decimator. Her quest led her to Tatooine, where she wiped out a small Republic force and blackmailed Borka the Hutt into surrendering intel about the Decimator. Intimidated by Tann and her droidekas, Borka revealed that the Republic was building the Decimator on Eridan Prime, an icy world in the Tyon cluster. After establishing a small droid garrison on Tatooine, Tann travelled next to Eridan, where she and her troops quickly overwhelmed the Republic's research facility. The Decimator prototypes were captured in the battle. As it turned out, the Decimator was a model of a massive repulsor tank designed with shields and a powerful turbo laser capable of melting through virtually anything. But even though Tann captured the prototypes at Eridan, she wasn't able to use them yet. Several of the Republic researchers escaped with their activation codes, rescued from certain capture late in the battle by a force of Wookiee warriors. The Wookiees, Tann determined, were from Alaris Prime, a moon in the Kashyyyk system whose colonists were loyal to the Republic. Tann attacked Alaris Prime next, targeting a Republic army on the moon and 5 key Wookiee settlements: Chendrul, Wookararump, Latmitkuk, Tarawuk, and Rawaku. Initially, the Wookiees and the Republic had the advantage, but Tann disoriented Alaris's defenders by targeting their communications, throwing the defense into chaos. Tann took advantage of the confusion to attack Republic positions one by one, wiping all of them out. After capturing Alaris Prime, Tann finally retrieved the Decimator codes, which she used to activate the fearsome war machines. At Kur, Tatooine, Eridan Prime, and Alaris Prime, Sev'rance 10 crushed the Republic forces with lightning-fast surgical strikes that caught the GAR at unawares. Those battles were decisive, but beneath the notice of most loyalists, taking place on minor colonies or remote outposts. After capturing the Decimators, Tann and Dooku used this strategy against a far more important target, Sarapin. Sarapin was a desolate volcanic world, and it may well have been insignificant were it not a major source of power for the core worlds. The planet produced immense amounts of geothermal energy, which was captured and shipped off to power some of the core's wealthiest and most important Eucumenopolises, including Coruscant. Sarapin was well defended. It was surrounded by an asteroid field which the core worlds had long ago transformed into a massive defense grid, and a sizable clone army was stationed on the planet's surface, commanded by Jedi General Jar Drakas from a fortress on Mount Corvast. The entire planet was a fortress, really, but Tann attacked it anyway. Using the same rapid assault tactics she had employed in her earlier battles, Tann opened the battle with a surgical strike against a key link in the orbital defense grid, Asteroid 426, which housed the generators for Sarapin's planetary shield. The vanguard of Tann's fleet, composed of speedy Confederacy cruisers, flew fast and low over the asteroids, evading the Republic's anti-air defenses and taking Asteroid 426 by storm. Tann's ships leveled the asteroid's defenses and destroyed the shield generator, effectively punching a hole in Sarapin's defense grid. Tann's forces poured into the breach. As reinforcements arrived from Care and began dismantling the rest of the asteroid defense grid, Tann landed on Sarapin's surface and deployed her new decimators. Faced with these terrifying weapons, Sarapin's ground defenses crumbled. 5 entire clone armies were completely wiped out by Tann's merciless advance. As the Decimators sheared through Mount Corvast's Durasteel walls with their turbo lasers, Tann slew General Drakas in a lightsaber duel. Sarapin was conquered, the first major Republic world to fall to the Confederacy. The effects of the Battle of Sarapin were felt across the core worlds. Tann cut Sarapin off from the loyalist worlds that depended on it, causing mass blackouts and panic. However, it didn't take long for the Republic to respond. Sev'rance Tann's surgical strikes had proved devastating, but she wasn't the only one who could employ such tactics. After Sarapin, they became the favorite strategy of both the Republic and the Confederacy, at least for a few months. The Republic's first major campaign began not long after Tann's ended, a counteroffensive meant to reverse her gains. Command fell to Ichu Shen-Jon, a Jedi Master who was all too familiar with Dooku's right hand. Shen-Jon had faced off against Tann on Geonosis, where she killed his Padawan Stam Reath. After Geonosis, he was determined to bring Tann to justice and, secretly, to avenge his fallen student. Accompanied by his new Padawan, Nartareth, who was Stan's sister, Shen-Jon began his campaign at Sarapin. By the time he arrived there, Sev'rance Tann was long gone, but she had left a garrison behind in the ruins of Mount Corvast, commanded by a Trade Defense Force officer named Xian Finis. Shen-Jon and Reath dismantled Sarapin's meager Separatist garrison, captured Finis, and brought Sarapin back under Republic control, restoring power to the core and helping to quell the panic spreading throughout the Republic. From Sarapin, Shen-Jon and his army set off to find Sev'rance Tann before she could use the Decimators against another key Republic world. They headed next to Tatooine, a world they knew Tann had visited before, and where they met with Jabba the Hutt. Jabba informed the Jedi of Tann's earlier deal with Borka, and promised them information if they killed Borka and destroyed the Separatist garrison Tann had left behind on Tatooine. Shen-Jon's army did as Jabba asked, and Jabba pointed the Jedi to the Krant system, where Tann was rumoured to have established a base of operations. Wasting no time, the Jedi and their army travelled to the Krant system, discovering signs of Separatist activity on the moon Aeryn. There, a Separatist force under Commander Plor Baron had established a mining outpost where the Confederacy was extracting resources for shipment to Krant itself. On Krant, the Jedi learned, Sev'rance Tann had established a series of factories to churn out new decimators. Republic forces razed the Aryan outpost and built their own base on the moon, which Shen-Jon planned to use as a staging ground for a full-scale invasion of Krant. Landing on Krant, Shen-Jon and Nart divided their armies, hoping to destroy as many factories as possible before the new decimators came online. They destroyed several Separatist installations, wrecking most of the decimators before they could be activated. Shen-Jon's battalion encountered one active decimator, but Separatist forces were eventually destroyed through overwhelming force. But this encounter cost Shen-Jon's army dearly, and worse, it had been intended as a diversion. While Shen-Jon was busy with the decimator, Tann had ambushed Nart Reith and captured her. She revealed this to the Jedi Master in a brief transmission, taunting them that there wasn't a Padawan he could train that she couldn't take away from him. In the end, however, the capture of Nart Reith only doomed Separatist operations on Krant. Shen-Jon, who was at this point slipping into the grip of the dark side, was determined not to let Tann kill another of his students. He gathered his armies and marched on Tann's remaining bases, razing each base he came across until he finally reached the Separatist command center. As his troops dismantled the base's defenses, Shen-Jon tore through the fortress looking for his Padawan. In an isolated wing at the far end of the base, he finally found her, only to discover that she had been set as bait by Sev'rance Tann. The Dark Acolyte attacked Shen-Jon, and the two fought a fierce lightsaber duel. At the height of the combat, Shen-Jon succumbed to the dark side, drawing on his hate for Tann to finally defeat her. As his troops mopped up the last of the droid armies on Krant, Shen-Jon moved to finish off Tann but was stopped by Nart Reith, who drew her master back from the dark side. Sev'rance Tann died of her wounds shortly afterward. In the Battle of Krant, Ichu Shen-Jon put a decisive end to the Decimator campaign, destroying the last of the captured superweapons and wiping out Tann's armies. In killing Sev'rance Tann, he had also dealt a serious blow to Separatist command, which was now without a clear leader. But the Decimator campaign had taken its toll on the Republic as well. Core welders weren't quick to forget the terror of the Battle of Sarapin, while Shen-Jon's troops suffered heavy losses at the Battle of Krant. Additionally, after the battle was done, Shen-Jon chose to desert the Grand Army and go into exile, ashamed of his fall to the dark side. While Nart Reith took command of Republic forces on Krant and led them to new battlefronts, Ichu Shen-Jon stayed behind. So that's the story of one of the earliest campaigns of the Clone Wars. But what do you think? Would you like to know more about Sev'rance Tann? Feel free to post your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.